Hello, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to a match reaction show. It's finished in preseason. Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 2. And you know what? If I was doing this in a regular season game, I would absolutely cut it because they were 2-0 up and the United gave it up to be 2-2. But I think we said this. We said this is the toughest test for Manchester United in this preseason yet, at least the sternest test yet. And this would be the game to see how they would do because so far they played Liverpool's C team, Liverpool's B team. They played Melbourne victory, but not really quite that good opposition. And then they played Crystal Palace's B team as well. So they hadn't been tested so far. And then in this game comes, and I think we've seen what the issues for Manchester United are. There's a lot of issues to go through, and we'll go through them. I think the first thing to say, of course, the first half was a little bit surprising how easily United were playing because you thought Villa would be a little bit more aggressive, they'd probably be a little more proactive, but it almost felt like they were happy to sit back. They were happy to let United dictate play, and United were dictating it pretty well. It was a game for two right wingers, really. I think the first half belonged to United's right winger, Jadon Sancho. I thought he was fantastic. The way he was finding space, finding movement. He took his goal well, but just beyond the goal as well. I think the way he was kind of running play on that right wing was nice to see. It should have had an assist as well. Rashford kind of scuffed it, but then goes in as an own goal from Matty Cash. But overall, I thought United in the first half looked good. Looked good. Fred looked. I mean, they're playing a 4-1-4-1, which normally they play 4-2-3-1, but they're playing a 4-1-4-1 for this game. So it was Bruno and Donny playing ahead of Fred. Another Fred looked good in that CDM role in the first half. He looked pretty good because he was trying to cut things out. Donny supported him. Would have expected more from Donny, to be honest. I thought he was fairly average. I know the pitch conditions were pretty bad. I know there were often times when he was ignored and his runs were ignored, but still felt he could have been more involved in the play. But otherwise, I thought Bruno was also okay. He had a few bad touches, but he was okay otherwise. And I mean that 4-1-4-1, what it did was it kind of took Villa's 4-1-2-1-2 formation because they were playing a diamond. It kind of took it out of play because what it essentially meant was that you had two. If you look at the 4-1-2-1-2, it's like it's basically you have three and then you have a narrow formation, right? And so what it meant was that Fred could kind of just mark Coutinho out of the game, and the two forward midfielders were basically occupying the two sort of wide central midfielders. So you kind of had an overload of in the midfield for Manchester United. So it kind of killed Villa's attacking momentum. And I thought Rashford was okay. Again, I think Rashford could have done better, but he played his part for the first goal though, so he did that. I thought it was a great cross from Shaw as well to put it in. But United looked in control without necessarily being dominant. I think in the first half, I think people might have thought they were dominant. They were not dominant. They looked in control throughout that first half, and that really helped. And you thought, well, this is United. This is the new United. United, they're controlling things. They're looking good. They're doing well. Maybe this is the way forward. But then the second half comes, and one tactical change that Gerrard made changed the whole game. It was changing from a 4-1-2-1-2 to a 4-3-3 to a proper 4-3-3. Brings on Leon Bailey on that right hand side, pass pacing winger. The difference is Ings and Watkins don't have the pace to run in behind the defense. So what it meant was that Maguire and Lindelof are never going to be troubled for pace. And with Coutinho sort of like marked out, even when he was playing, he wasn't able to play those simple through balls he was playing. So it was always about trying to figure out how they were going to break United down from the center, which they couldn't do. But once they got those wingers once they got Bailey on, Buendia on, Bailey's pace completely expose Manchester United's defense for what it really is. And it's absolutely and again, I said this every time. If you're going to play a high line, Maguire and Lindelof just can't play a high line. They can't. You can't have Maguire and Lindelof playing as central defenders if you're going to play a high line, because all it required was for one of the Villa midfielders to just keep picking on Bailey, and all Bailey had to do was run at the defense, because Shaw was completely out of position every time because he was keeping on bombing forward. And Fred is not a CDM. So every time he was trying to cover, it's actually funny because Fred is more left-sided. So he should have, in theory, he should have been covering the left side, his left side pretty easily, but he couldn't. He just couldn't. He was getting caught out. I mean, he got caught in possession as well by Bailey. And then the goal comes, which basically came because Maguire and Lindelof don't have the pace. So Bailey beat Lindelof for maybe basically Shaw was out of position. So Bailey had a free run on the left-hand side. Lindelof, because he doesn't have the pace, he didn't want to commit to Bailey, so he kept backing off, and Maguire couldn't cover, of course, couldn't get back in time to provide the cover, so it's an easy far corner shot that he takes it. It wasn't very, I wouldn't say, I'm not going to go in on a one play. I think it's a collective defensive failure, And the reason for the collective defensive failure is because Maguire and Lindelof can't play a high line. They can't. And against any team that has pace, which a lot of teams will have once we get into the regular season, we're going to see a lot of teams that are going to have a lot of pacey players. That defense is going to struggle. It is going to struggle. Now, hopefully, Martinez will come and fix that a little bit. Ideally, you would want, yeah, I don't know if Maguire, if one defender is going to be able to cover that. So that would be interesting. But that first goal was well worked, and I think it exposed a lot of the issues that Manchester United have. And then the other issue is the issue of squad depth, which I've kept been talking about throughout the preseason. As soon as the players have to come out, the first 11 has to come up. Look at the players that are coming on. You've got Alex Telles coming into defensive midfield. You've got Van Bissaka is still starting at right back. You've got the Hannibal Mabry playing as a striker because they've got nobody else. Beyond the front three, they really have nobody else. Iqbal, I think, is an okay, but he was playing as a number 10. James Garner I was surprised actually that Charlie Savage didn't get a game. I thought he should have started ahead of maybe, not started, but he should have played ahead of maybe Telles. But I'm seeing and I'll come to Telles in a second. But you kind of saw the lack of the trade John playing on the right, even though he's probably going to be going out on loan this season. So that lack of depth was obvious and evident. They still did well to hold out until the end. And I mean, again, towards the end, 1.5 minutes gone, you want to see the game out. For some reason, they gave the ball away. It comes back, and Malaysia does well to kick to make it go into a corner. He just kind of felt like they were going to score, and then that it was just poor defending. Again, poor marking in the box, and Varane was caught out, Pei was caught out, De Gea was just completely, he was completely bamboozled because I think Villa put a player on him, so he couldn't get past him. And it was a free header in the end. I think it was a free header for 2 or 3 Villa players. Actually, any one of them could have probably scored that, and they did score that. Callum Chambers was the one who scores, and it finishes 2-2. So it's a disappointing game in that sense. But I think what it does do is it exposes a lot of the issues that have been covered over because of the different performances against weaker teams. I think one of the biggest, Telles is a player right now who looks like he's going to be sold because he's played centre back, he's played CDM. He has not played a single minute, I think, at left back throughout this preseason. He's played as centre back and he's played as a defensive midfielder because he's basically third choice left back right now. And they're just trying to fit him into the team because they want him to play. Basically, they want him sold, but they can't sell him by keeping him on the bench. So they're playing him in these different positions. So at least he gets game time. But he should be sold. He has that air of a player who should be sold. Van Bissaka should also be sold. I don't think he was poor. The thing is, I don't think anyone played badly. I think it was just the fact that a lot of that the system itself is not conducive to a lot of players. And as long as that is the case, United will always be exposed. And that's just the case with Lindelof, Maguire. You just lack that pace in that central areas, and they just need their fullbacks to keep supporting them. That's what they need. So therefore, they will always have a mistake or two in them. And the only question is whether they can survive those 1 or 2 mistakes. They couldn't today. Maybe there'll be some games where they'll get lucky and they will survive. There will be other games where they won't. So to me, it was a systemic failure in that defense. It again shows the lack of the need for a proper CDM as well. I don't think Fred can play that role over a season. He can't. He can do it for a few games. He can do it against maybe some of the weaker teams. He can't do it against a good, decent opposition. Aston Villa, decent opposition. And they might very well be challenging for Europe this season. They might hope to. At least they're looking for a top half finish. So they're a good side. And he just felt that Fred is not going to be able to do that. So they do need a CDM. I don't know who that CDM is going to be because they haven't been linked to anyone, and that doesn't look like they're just all in on De Jong at the moment. So that's the issue. For Villa, the one thing that I will say is I don't think you should be playing a 4-1-2-1-2. A 4-1-2-1-2 works as a surprise formation. When you're playing it as a one-off in a game where you're trying to catch the opposition out in a certain way, it works. Playing it, and it works in cup games. Playing it in like a regular season, it doesn't really work because you're kind of just stuck with 2 strikers that either get too close to each other, which means that they can't really effectively attack the defense, or they get too wide, or they get too pulled out together and they get too wide and split. So it's hard to play with that. I think a 4-3-3 works better from Villa's point of view, and I think they've also, you don't want Mings and Watkins starting together because then you don't have that pace, which I think they had in that second half with Bailey. I think it just was completely changed the game. So, I mean, it's preseason. Results don't really count for much. I think it's more about the performances. I've been saying that all throughout the season, so far all throughout the summer, that it's the performances that matter that we're going to analyze. We're not analyzing results. And I thought today's performance, I think, showed a lot of the issues that United still have, which I've noticed those issues anyway. But I think today's performance again showcase the issues that that exist. So let's see what happens. They're going back to United, going back to England now, and then they've got to play in Norway and Oslo, where they're going to play Atletico Madrid, and then that'll be a game to watch as well to see how they do in that one, because that's going to be a stern test as well. But we'll see how that goes. Please remember to share your comments. Actually, let me know what you thought about the game, because it's a very tactically intriguing game, and a lot of things for Ten Hag to take back. Of course, hopefully it accelerates some transfer business as well. But let me know in the comments what you thought. Smash a like as well for the game. I thought it was a good preseason game. All things considered, I think it was good. It was a good experience. And of course, remember to follow us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel on. Well, yes, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Facebook. We always appreciate your support, of course. There's some big news around Sunday that's happening, which we're following. I don't want to do a video right now on that, but we're following that, and we'll see how that comes along. But we might do a video on that as well. So please, subscribe and so you can notify it when that falls. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. See you soon. Bye bye.